What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Sam Claiborne,
501,
and Brian Altano. Just like my favorite brand of blue jeans.
501.
Yeah.
I can't name any others.
Yeah, actually. Juicy? Is that one? Is that
Juicy?
Why did you go there?
Is that number
of
two for you?
Instead of just like Gap?
We've got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk about
Gene Scoop.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but Gene with the G, like DNA.
Yeah.
We're going to flip through the October 1998 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Let's do that first.
I had that issue.
But first,
No.
this week we got our first official mention from Sony of the next PlayStation.
Yep.
They didn't call it the PlayStation 5, but they mentioned next-gen hardware.
Shocking news.
It was Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida,
He
probably
was totally exasperated
probably-
when he was saying this.
probably no relation to Shuhei, I don't think.
Yeah.
But his quote this week was that he says, "At this point, what I can say is it is necessary to have a next-generation hardware." And I thought his choice of words was interesting.
Yeah, it's
Agreed.
weird,
What
right?
does that mean? Necessary. I mean,
It's essential.
obviously we're getting one, but
Right.
in his financial terms, doesn't they need that huge influx of cash? Like, what does that mean?
Well, yeah, that, and I think it's also cementing the fact that this won't be some nebulous streaming cloud device. This will be a box that plays video games, which is awesome because
Maybe both.
maybe both, but not just one of them.
Yeah. I don't read too much into the necessary thing. I mean, it's translated
maybe
from
there's
Japanese
something
to
lost in
English,
translation,
and
sure.
it's just like we're making another one. Don't worry about it. Ask me again in 12 months. I'll have more to say.
And it's cool that this is happening in a week in which people are playing Assassin's Creed, a game that just came out on their browsers in Japan. Like, that's insane. And apparently it works really well.
And on their Switches.
Yeah, and on their Switches
Yeah.
as well. Same company that did the Resident Evil 7 port to Switch,
Yep.
So-
which I heard didn't work as well.
So you're talking about the testing of Google's streaming,
In
game
Chrome, you can
service.
just play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it looks pretty good. And it doesn't have the hitching that we'd expect and stuff like that. I mean, that's that should be, as we've been saying for 15 years, the death knell for consoles is once we can just stream games, but it's never really worked right. I hear this one's working pretty well.
Yeah. That seems to be the big theme of next-gen consoles, is that streaming is going to be, at least if it's not the only way to play games, it's going to be a much larger way of playing games.
This has been
next
PlayStation
generation.
Now for
have
a
PlayStation
long
Now.
time now, which
Yeah.
people kind of forget about. Like, this isn't some future tech, right?
Totally.
Like, you've been able to play old PlayStation games streaming over the internet, for a while.
Yeah.
But for it to be a new contemporary, big AAA game, that's where we're getting into future tech territory.
Yeah.
Although the future is now.
That's actually true.
And the Switch still uses cartridges,
Yeah.
which I prefer.
Except
Don't taste
I'm not
them.
making fun of it.
they are streaming new AAA games to the Switch in Japan. You mentioned Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but they did that with Resident Evil 7
Yeah.
earlier this year.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we'll see more of that. We haven't seen it here yet, though, which is weird, or at least specifically for Switch.
Yeah.
Obviously, the internet connection stuff all over the world is still a big barrier for entry for people.
And America in particular.
Yeah,
here is
totally.
pretty slow.
And I think that's interesting because it's leading a lot of people to continue to buy physical copies of games, but even that is not necessarily a guarantee that you won't be, stifled with some 50 gig day one download or,
Yeah, I think internet speeds in America are slow enough or unreliable enough, like it can't consistently be fast enough day in, day out in every state in the country, that the PlayStation 5 and next Xbox aren't going to be streaming only or streaming first. They can't be.
And
Because-
you wouldn't buy them for that because you can do it in a browser. So why would you buy a separate box?
Yeah, so that's the big takeaway from the streaming stuff to me, is it democratizes video games in such a way that you don't have to have a $500 box. You don't have to make that upfront investment to play the next big Assassin's Creed game or, maybe Call of Duty or FIFA or Madden or whatever. We are gamers, and most people listening to the show are hardcore gamers. So we just accept, every 5 years I got to plunk down this money on a PlayStation. But that's
We're usually happy to do that. We get very excited. I love
yeah,
being
but
able
I
to
mean,
do that.
that's to remove that requirement is a really, really big deal for video games becoming more, broad in the way that movies are.
Well, Microsoft is heading in that direction. I'd say in sort of in many ways devaluing their own console line by saying, hey, you can play Forza through Game Pass. You can also play it on your PC. You'll be able to stream it on a Google tablet or something like that. Play it in a browser eventually. Whereas I think Sony is very much just like, these are PlayStation exclusives and these are PlayStation games, and you play them on PlayStation. You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I love that too, because they sell really well, so it's working out.
Game Pass is amazing, by the way. You get 2 weeks free, and so I signed up for my 2-week trial, and I played all of Forza Horizon 4 that I wanted in that 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand how this makes sense for anyone from like a business standpoint.
I got a 3-month subscription for like $10 or something.
Well, yeah, I mean that was like a
come with
sale
Super
from
Dodgeball?
Amazon or whatever, but.
The flickering is on purpose, apparently.
Yeah.
All this stuff
You gotta
lines
get
up with
everything on stage.
the rumor about the next Xbox was that it was going to come in 2 flavors, like the big $400 or $500 box that's more traditional, and then the slim down box that really relied heavily on streaming.
Right.
So we don't know; it's all still rumors. But now Microsoft's doing it, and Google's doing it. So
Man, PlayStation, all they have to do is do the exact same thing again with a more powerful console.
Yeah.
Because they really, everybody else is getting goofy and trying experiments around them. But if they just become the best looking console every couple years, then they'll be fine.
I don't know.
Microsoft started
You
this
think it'll get
generation.
gimmicky?
Well,
Microsoft started this generation trying to reinvent the wheel and saying like, "Oh, it's online and no more game sharing."
Connect.
And everyone was like, "No, no thanks." And
Yeah.
it took them about a year and a half to sort of reclaim their footing a little bit.
Yeah, but now people are kind of coming around and being like, well, maybe Microsoft's vision wasn't so bad to begin with.
That's true.
Like, particularly when you have a really good value proposition with something like Game Pass. Like, the reason I'm like, I don't think Sony can just like, okay, here's the PlayStation 5, it's the 4, but better is services like Game Pass. Like, if Microsoft, and you see EA doing it with, what's their service called? Their subscription service.
Access?
Play.
Access?
Yeah.
It's called Play.
That's their E3
Right.
thing.
Oh, that's right. Access.
In any case, everyone's trying to be the Netflix for video games, and whichever company can sort of establish the most foothold there. If Microsoft can say, we have 1 million people giving us $10 a month, and they get access to this library of games, and the games come and go.
But why do you need a new console to do that?
Well, you don't. That's what I'm saying.
but-
That's why Sony. That's the vector in my mind by which Sony could end up being left behind.
Yeah, I think had they come out the gate when at that first E3 for the Xbox One, the one that sort of became their downfall for a while, had they come out the gate and said, we have this thing called Game Pass, and for $10 a month you can play all our first party games, people would have been like, oh my God, yeah, sign me up. Instead they were like, you can't give your friends games anymore and you always have to be online.
Totally.
Everyone was like, what? And they're like, you'll love sports when you yell at your television. And people were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But they found that, they found their place.
Do you think Sony could just put out a Switch? Because if we really like a portable system and they say they're not going to do another handheld, the kind of the convergence of handheld and television is like my favorite thing right now.
I agree.
I think we all love that.
I agree.
And PlayStation tends to kind of follow suit with the big other Japanese game developer, which is Nintendo.
If Sony could figure out a way to do to make their more powerful console portable, that would be a big leg up.
Yeah.
That's like the one problem with the Switch, right? That it can't play new AAA games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
But the streaming solves that, right? Like then you're sort of in
true.
a best of both worlds.
But then how does it stream when you're out and about on the move?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Works in Japan probably where there's just better internet coverage everywhere.
And I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around, like, even if internet in this country was a lot better, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and this is a game that I love, but it is, combat is not particularly twitchy or fast-paced, and neither is the traversal. Every element of that game is a little bit heavy, but I'm thinking about something like Call of Duty or something that is like twitchier and faster and requires that more moment-to-moment sort of input. Like, how can you'll feel that when you're playing online.
We are living in a time in which Fortnite and PUBG are on phones, which is really amazing.
Yeah, but that's playing the game. That's not streaming the game.
It does have the game on the phone, but just the online connection is working that well. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That we're there now, that kids can play in class. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. There's a few things that come to mind with Justin's point. The one is that if they do lean heavily into streaming, companies like Microsoft and Google are much better equipped
Yeah, they're
with that
positioned to do that.
infrastructure than Sony and
Totally.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
So
No,
it
you're
would be
completely
hard
right.
for Sony and Nintendo to sort of join them in that space. But that also gives them a way to differentiate themselves, right?
It would eventually kill the console, right? Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is playable in your web browser, so then the concept of like a new generation of hardware just goes away.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe not like this generation, but it sort of is the first step toward those big hardware leaps not existing anymore.
I still think that like it comes down to games, and we're talking about a lot of third-party stuff. But you know, if Microsoft takes another 5 years to really get their first-party studios in line, which they might, because you know they secured a lot at E3 this year, and they said this is this like family we're building up. It's going to take a while for those to really start to show and prove. I
mean,
so in the meantime, I think Sony has like 7 different studios working on first-party stuff.
We're almost there. Like Forza 4, you know, $10 a month, you get access to that game. You don't have to buy it. And I downloaded some 60 gig file, and then I could play the game. But we're just one step away from, hey, give us $20 a month instead, and you don't even need to have an Xbox. Like you can play it on your phone, or you can play it in your web browser, and then that's like the streaming option for that same game. And that doesn't feel space age. That feels completely plausible to me with with tech that exists now.
Yeah, we'll get there for sure.
The other thing is that if the industry wants to lean into streaming, if it wants to go the way of like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon streaming, all of those video streaming companies have flooded. They've just spent so much money on exclusive content.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. So. You could see a situation where all these video game publishers are just sort of like really trying to boost up their exclusive lineup to encourage people to play on that platform.
I hadn't even thought of that. If they're like, oh, the next Halo game is streaming exclusive. I mean, something huge
Xbox,
like that.
Yeah.
We're already used to a fragmented. Again, like gamers sort of put up with this abuse that like people, if you're just like a movie fan or whatever, you don't have to think about. But like we already have to own every box to play.
Yeah.
Like it's completely foreign and insane that like, no, you have to have an Xbox to play Halo.
It's not like you have to have this Blu-ray
player to watch Marvel movies. Like you don't have to buy a Disney box, right?
It was like that when HD DVD was around.
That's true.
For that year.
But you look at something like Spotify, which is, you know, unified digital music, and I can listen to Prince and I can listen to Kendrick Lamar, and they're both decades apart. And
well, like there was a little bit of a war, but then Spotify won.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like pretty split up for a while, but then it sort of consolidated back up as sort of a leader emerged.
Yeah, and but the issue right now is like if I want to play a PlayStation 1 game, I don't know where to do that on PS3
or you just
PlayStation Classic, or you can't.
You can't on PS4.
Yeah, it's like completely fragmented, and so I find that interesting because there isn't the streaming thing could make it so there's a unified place to play everything. We're not there yet. It also means that us as gamers and collectors need to relinquish the concept of owning something. Because we never will again. You don't own anything on Netflix. One day you wake up, they're like, "Hey, I was watching that show," and they're like, "It's gone."
That is a big.
That's what
worry.
we were doing with Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah,
If it is going to be a streaming service, I don't want games to just disappear the way stuff does from Netflix every month.
Then they absolutely will, right?
It's just like what?
You know, Game Pass is going to have Ubisoft games for 5 years, and then that contract is up, and then the games are removed.
Well, you look at digital stuff now. It was a couple years ago, Activision made a brand new Ninja Turtles game, and they just and they pulled it from the stores, from the digital stores, like 2 years ago, because they looked at the profit value versus what it costs to maintain that license, and they said, pull it. Yeah. Same with like a Transformers game, like it's
So game streaming will do away with game collecting and used game buying and selling. That it won't exist.
Yeah, which is good for the businesses and publishers. Yeah, not so good for gamers, right?
Yeah,
but it's hard to say whether subscription fees are good for game developers and publishers because selling a $60 game, which is
$60 from each person for every game that you put out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The smart thing, and I'm sorry I keep using Game Pass as the example, but I finally dove into it for this first time. Was so impressed. Was like, I go back and forth on this. Forza's a $60 game. They want millions of people to buy that $60 game. They don't want them paying $10 to play it for a month and move on. But I'm playing that game for free or paying it for $10 a month, but it has a James Bond car pack and it has a season pass and it has this other junk that like they're going to try to, they're going to get you in some other way.
And if you don't unsubscribe in 6 months, you pay for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is really what they're counting on. You know what really matters here is net neutrality. And not to go too far into it, but right now there's nothing protecting, Google that owns a bunch of lines or AT&T or something from being the next big video game distributor because they can right now say, you can't play anybody else's streaming services. You can only play ours. Like that is 100% legal right now. Now, California is specifically trying to overturn that with net neutrality laws here. But the current federal guidance for net neutrality is that we could have a future in which your tastes in games are solely made because you have internet lines run to your house by one company.
Right.
Yeah, that's
an actual effect of politics and games right now.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It also just streaming does introduce a middle provider to your gaming experience where you don't just buy the game, put it in your console and play it. Now your internet provider has to provide the means for the game to actually come to you, right? And you're also relying on them.
So you can see Comcast and then Google. Google lays fiber and is trying to get in the or in the business of providing internet. Like those companies are probably more positioned to be the gaming companies or the publishing platforms of the future. And unfortunately, they compete with each other, and that means that you might have to subscribe to an internet service to play certain games, which is crazy.
And they'll have plenty more space to build stores once all the GameStops are gone, because those will disappear in this scenario as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. They're just going to keep selling Funkos and
I think so.
They could go the hot topic route.
Minecraft socks.
they won't have a choice.
No.
Yeah,
I bet
Funkos and Minecraft socks.
I bet in 10 years, GameStop goes the way of Toys R Us. I think so.
They come back as GameStop Toy Box.
Is that what Toys R Us is now? It's Toy Box?
Jeffrey's Toy
I
Box.
didn't hear about that.
Yeah, no, the Jeffrey Giraffe
doubling
zombie
down
just
on the
rose
giraffe.
from the grave again the other day.
Why would they do that?
Box.
I don't. They took decades of brand recognition and they threw it in the garbage.
It's that backwards R. Nobody could take it anymore.
One of the, Brian, I think it was you earlier.
Corn
touched
sort
on
of appropriated that also.
Corn, yeah.
That's true.
The only two.
the backwards R, corn and Toys R Us.
And Tetris.
Tetris? Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
I think
It
I
all,
saw a list feature, boys.
Top 3 backwards R's.
In anything.
Really good.
What are you saying, Justin?
No, just that you're right that it comes back to content, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny how like we keep relearning this lesson over and over again. People are like, cable's horrible. I don't want cable. I'm canceling my cable and just going with online services. But now those are all splintering and fragmented too. And there's like amazing shows on Hulu, and even Amazon's got a couple good ones, and Netflix. And it's like now we're just back. Like we're back to how it was before. And the game platforms have always been pretty segmented. And there's some hope that in a streaming future maybe that would go away. But then they're still just going to have their own streaming exclusives. And only now you won't be able to pirate as a last resort.
These scoops are kind of a bummer. Can we talk about 1998?
Yeah, we'll get there. I was going to say that one thing that is clear about the streaming future, if you look at the comments on our story about this PlayStation 5, is that no gamer seems to want a streaming console.
No,
It's
they
like,
don't.
well,
Because you just picture what that night is like when the streaming service is down.
it's gonna be
and you pay for it.
So it's going to be a hard sell, right? If that's really what these new consoles are going to lean into, it's going to be a hard sell.
When you picture it, like we've talked a lot about game preservation on Scoop, and there is a defense of piracy for older games that are not available or preserved in any other way. Sometimes that's it, just from an academic standpoint. That's the only option for preserving that game, and there's no sense of permanence or access long term when you're talking about a video game streaming future.
Yeah, it's also it's PlayStation and Sony's turn to really get up there and drop the ball, like just to really fumble on the world stage.
They kind of
It is
go.
their turn. They
Yeah.
go back
It was
and forth.
Nintendo and then Microsoft.
There was the
and
Wii
now-
U, and then Microsoft did its thing, and then back on the PS3 where they're like $599 and Kazurai or whatever.
They'll get a
was,
second job.
yeah.
There's totally a console cycle that's that. Right?
Yeah,
The
they're like-
failing.
We don't
the
even
hubris,
need
right?
we don't
You
even
get so
need
good.
games, and
Yeah.
we'll sell 1 million units. I could shoot a man in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I really hope to for this dark future we're all predicting is that the developers, the artists that make the games we love, can get paid and make great games, and that really goes for Nintendo. I don't like whatever systems they make. Like I really want Shigeru Miyamoto and everybody he's taught to make amazing games still, and that worries me.
Yeah.
When I think about Comcast cable providing all of our games.
But the truth is, I don't want to be like a sky is falling situation. The truth is that it's not going to be 100% streaming, right?
Right.
Because as long as there's a demand for actual physical games, local gameplay, someone will provide that. Just like in music, the vast majority of people seem to be happy just to stream through Spotify, but vinyl sales increase every year.
Yeah.
Like
It's doing great.
it's been too long now to just be a fad. So it's like it's still a thing.
That's a good point.
And even then, people buy digital albums through iTunes. Like there's that third tier, right? Which I think that like right now, I'm all digital on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and everything like that. I'm not all streaming, but I'm not all physical either. You know, I'm right there in the digital world. So, and like we said with the internet connection thing, it's gonna be a long time before this is a real problem. But it's coming. Watch out.
A war is coming. All right, are we all still playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Oh yes.
Yep. Everybody here? Everybody? I really like that game a lot.
I'm level 22.
Yeah, I think I'm level 22 too.
That's a lot of grinding to get there.
I'm half
Not
of your
bad
levels.
grinding though. I'm not criticizing the grinding.
I liked that game right from the jump, and my opinion of it is only increasing as time goes on. I think it's one of the best RPGs of this generation, right up there with. I know most people really loved Witcher, but Witcher, Dragon
That was
Age.
going to be my question, maybe to Sam. How does it compare to Witcher 3 to you?
What I like to do in games is just go in a direction and see what's out there.
Yeah.
And it provides that. But for me, the Witcher along the way, I like so many other things about it. I like just straight up like the monsters and castles.
Yeah.
Like that part's awesome.
No, fantasy
really
world's a big part of it, and I think that this is a really cool game that's also, it's hard to say, but grounded in reality in many ways.
And when there are monsters and castles in this game, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot more of that in The Witcher.
Yeah,
That's true.
Just in terms of like beauty and size, like the world is so witchery in that sense.
I love the world. Yeah.
I had the perfect, the moment, the game was clicking from the beginning, but the moment where I'm like, I get it, and I completely understand what this team went for was I needed to gain 2 levels to continue the main quest. And so I picked an island at random. I'm like, this one is in my level range. I don't know anything about it. I sailed there, went on a bunch of adventures, did some really fun, well-written side quests, at the end of which I got to recruit someone new for my ship. Then I assassinated the leader, which that's a thing. You can kill the leader of these
every
islands.
island. Yeah.
And then that jumped up my wanted level, so I fought a bunch of mercenaries and jumped up a merc level. All of this is giving me new loot and new gear that's like tailored to exactly what I need.
And you look at the map, you said there's 40 other chances for you to do that.
And then the conquest battle at the end of all of this, sort of the cherry on top, was like a ship battle, which I hadn't done before.
Yeah, I just did one of those too.
So it was a ship-to-ship battle that I ended up, getting to take over the island for the faction that I wanted. And at the end of that process, I had a bunch of new loot. I'd gone on a little mini 2-hour odyssey, and I had leveled up and then was ready to continue the main quest. And it hit every single gameplay system without feeling like, now you're going to do the mercenary thing. Now you're going to do this. It was all like perfectly intertwined and blended up. And I was like, that experience that I had, I think 2 or 3 nights ago, I was like, oh man, it was really remarkable and really excellent.
What if we're at peak Assassin's Creed right now though, and like enjoying that is great, but if there's only more of that, I don't know if the environments are diverse enough and interesting enough for me
Planet
to be
Earth?
really into.
Is diverse enough?
So there's parts of that game where you there's parts of it that were not in ancient Greece, like huge statues or something like that, that are really exciting and fantasy-like and cool to come across. But a lot of the islands I've come across are like the same type of pirate village and then a town, and then I just don't know how much repetition there will be. But for right now, everything feels fresh, so that's fine. It's fine for now.
It's more RPG-like than Origins, quite a bit more.
Yeah.
The character
They
choice.
really leaned into that.
Like, I so rolled my eyes before the game came out where they're like meaningful choices you'll have to make, but they really are. Like, the story branches off in super different, meaningful ways where I feel like I have some agency and control over the choices that I'm making, and even the gear is a lot more detailed than it was
I
in
just
Origins.
skip all the dialogue.
Really?
It's all of it.
Oh, I think it's great.
And that screwed me yesterday because there was a mission where I was supposed to be a spy, and you get quizzed on the dialogue you were skipping.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
skipping
I just
a
had
lot
to
of
kill
it,
the
too.
guy.
Oh man,
It's a little talky.
I like it.
It's very.
Um,
And I might be. There's probably good parts and bad parts, but
Also-
there's so much bad parts that I started being like, all right.
I haven't talked about this anywhere, but I'll admit something on this show.
Uh-oh.
I'm helping to bring on the death of gaming because I bought that $10 thing that doubles your XP.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I was thinking about doing that too.
Yeah, I did it almost immediately because
As soon as I heard about it, I was like,
yeah, the second I heard about it, I was like, that's horrible. Why would they do such a thing? And then I looked down at my daughter and she was crying and I'm like, it's going to take me a long time to get through this game. I'm spending that $10.
Yeah.
Does it double? It doubles all the XP you earn
Yeah.
in the game?
And gold, I think, which is basically, it's another limiting, like you need gold to upgrade your gear. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you start the game, there was all that, what's the UB Club or whatever, where they give you all these modifiers and you're like, spend 20 UB bucks or
I'm
whatever.
only not doing that because I'm taking a stand and I don't want to support that, but I want it so bad.
But I
I think the game would be more balanced.
You can take a stand and grab your
man,
wallet.
I think it's
spend
fine.
10
I'm just
bucks.
looking at the next 25 levels. It's just a lot.
I mean, maybe like games slow down as you get to the end. So that's the caveat is I'm halfway there. And so I don't know what the back half is like.
Yeah.
Maybe it's way slower, but in the front half, as I said, like I gained 2 levels just doing what the game expects you to do
exactly.
anyway.
I
And
completely
like
agree.
going through a lot of really well crafted, handmade content.
And Justin, so did I, but I gained 4.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any problem with getting an XP boost. I have a problem with it with Ubisoft charging you $10.
I agree.
Like you've already bought the
Yeah.
game. The game is yours. You should be able to play
totally
it the way
agree.
you want.
Well, it's also
Turn
because
it on easy and get the same effect.
Well,
maybe.
yeah.
It's also because we as an industry are completely arbitrary with how we sell quality of life modifiers across games. Like when I played Tomb Raider recently, right?
Yeah.
The new one. And they let you go into sort of like finite details about what you want to make easier or harder. You make the puzzles easy, the combat hard or vice versa.
That's great, right?
Anything
Even
like
the
that.
traversal.
Yeah, and so this game just lets you pick difficulty levels, which it doesn't paywall, thankfully. But then it sort of arbitrarily puts this thing behind a paywall to double your XP.
I mean,
and I have a problem with it, but I also
But
paid
not
for
too
it
much of a problem.
because I'm an idiot.
As with all the microtransactions and DLCs, it's nuanced and the devil is in the details, right? Like there could be 2 games, they both have EXP boosters, and one game can really feel exploitive and make you feel like your progress is artificially slowed down, and the other game maybe doesn't feel that way at all, but it's still just there if someone wants it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really up to the individual person. Like I've never once played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like I kind of don't see what the controversy is. Like it feels paced. It feels exactly like The Witcher, actually. I actually feel like I'm leveling up and gaining new
Right.
gear and gaining new stuff faster than in The Witcher.
It would be
and so
more of an issue if this was like a competitive online game and my $10 put a strategic advantage over your lack of $10.
Yeah, that would be
right?
an issue.
Then that would suck. But for this right now, this is something I'm greedily and selfishly doing for myself.
I think the level system itself is a problem because it doesn't mean anything. It's like you get stronger, but everything else just is right pacing you. I hate that.
I don't like it when games,
also
level
don't
up
like-
enemies with you because then it's
Yeah.
like, you don't end up feeling powerful.
There's a way to balance that might work better, but I don't think it works well in this game. And you get freaking weapons for doing cool things that you can't use for
Well, that's true.
3
Like,
weeks.
Yeah.
And then they might not even be good.
Week and a half.
Like
if
I
you're
have
me.
all these level 40 weapons that I like worked my butt off for.
Yeah. Well,
so-
it's like, why did you even drop these? Like,
I actually
give me
like-
something 2 levels above.
I generally I really disliked the level rubber banding in the games like Oblivion and Skyrim. I didn't enjoy them. I think it's better tuned in Assassin's Creed because it is rubber bandy, right? So you'll never be way ahead of an old zone, but you can get a little bit ahead of an old zone. But it keeps it. I think it's 2 levels behind
levels.
you,
Yeah.
and so then you
It's
can
so
still go
sad.
in and kind of body people if you want to go roll your way through an old zone. But it won't be like they won't be like 20 levels back to the point that it's like it feels pointless.
Yeah.
Like
Or when I was level 6 and I fought one of those bounty hunter guys who was level 8, and
Yeah.
it was like a really decent challenge, and it was fun. It was thrilling when I killed him. But there's not a lot of that, because it's basically you can only go up a little or down a little, and I
People
really
are
like.
3 levels above you. You cannot kill them.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's not a thing, and that's another thing that bothers me. Like I can have this great equipment, but I can't use the one trick I have, which is kicking them off a cliff.
Right.
well, but
You
people
can't do that.
What I think what some people are finding is that gear in this game matters a lot. Like
Yeah,
if
it
you're
certainly
going in
does.
smash mouth face to face combat, like put on warrior gear. Like the bonuses in my head, I thought they were kind of trivial. I'm like, oh, a 2% boost to my damage, a 3%, but now it's like a 10% damage boost on each piece of my gear, like it absolutely makes a difference. If you have your gear tuned to, you know, the hunter tree or the warrior tree or the assassin's tree, like you'll melt through enemy health bars, or you can make things way harder on yourself.
Definitely some good RPG stuff there, but it's very menu-y, and it might not be for everybody.
I was just gonna say, there's so much, you know, equipment and loot in the game. I'm like going into the menu way more often than I ever have in an Assassin's Creed
I like this game more than you three. I really love it.
Well,
Like,
because
it.
I think you
I
like
love the
that
game.
type of RPG.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, so Origins was an RPG, but it was sort of like a RPG light. Whereas I think Odyssey is way more like full on open world RPG. Like if people came at that game with like a more Skyrim-y mindset, I think that people would be enjoying it even more. Not that people aren't enjoying it, but I feel like
I have seen Assassin's Creed fans saying like, this doesn't have what I like about Assassin's
Well, no,
Creed.
I was going to mention that because I think that like we will now split the fan base and deviate in different directions, and this one will sell incredibly well, and the message will be keep making more like it. I think
Because it already had a sales figure.
it's the fastest selling Assassin's Creed game this gen.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird, like, we'll see in a month.
Weird modifiers. But like I don't know, I love Breath of the Wild, right? Like I've been eager to bring it up in this conversation because I think it's a game that handled sort of level scaling and weapons really well, even with the degrading stuff. Like you could walk up to an enemy like a Hinox who felt so impossibly difficult to beat and find a way to battle him. And
then later you were able to take him out a little bit easier.
yeah.
Which like that is the curve I need.
And I love that game, but I also miss like a Zelda game that just has 8 temples where you get weapons for that temple and you go through. And like that's old school of me, but there's now a line in the sand with Zelda in the same way there is with Assassin's Creed and many other franchises where they split off in one direction and they just kind of go that way forever. And if you're kind of an old school or a purist of that franchise to begin with, you might never see it go back to the way it used to be. So
Well, luckily there's only 25 of those games for you to
that's true.
get sick of.
That is very true.
But I think it is like the stealth and the hunting and stuff like that, and like kind of elaborate setups for like Hitman type stuff, right? Like figuring out how to do assassinations. Like this doesn't really have that. They try to set that up, but you mainly just do the same thing.
Well, it's look at something like Batman Arkham Asylum versus Arkham World, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a game that started out with this very tight, intricate Metroidvania into a single setting, and then spawned into an open world game. And I don't think it'll ever go back.
No, it's only moving in this direction.
Yeah, it's
at
only
least
getting
for
bigger.
maybe not like forever's a long time, but like for the foreseeable future, this is what Assassin's Creed is now. There's more of that RPG vein to mine, for sure.
Yeah.
I do like that it has Damon. You're always talking about just taking over bases and scouting
Outposts.
something out.
Ooh.
Outposts. Just outposts the game, and it has to have. I think it's mandatory. I think it's the law in every Ubisoft game that there's like caged animals in the middle of an outpost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here we go. Like
I'm very happy with that happening.
Do you
a
ever
lot
do
more.
that and the bear is like friends with them? I've had that happen a few times.
Well,
It
The bear
sucks.
doesn't feel like attacking them.
You
No.
gotta shoot him in the foot, piss him off.
It can feel a little
good idea.
arbitrary
Set
sometimes,
it on
but
fire.
Yeah, it's really good.
you can't have fire bears.
I am thoroughly enjoying Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We have a question about that game from Devin. He writes us from Walnut, California, not Walnut Creek, Walnut, California. And he says 2 questions. Question number 1, do emails going to gamescoop@ign.com and omegacops@ign.com go to the same inbox? And the answer is yes, they do.
It's not really an Assassin's Creed question, though, is it?
His second question is, I am a big Assassin's Creed fan. There's probably no other franchise I follow as closely to the point that I even read the novelization of the movie. I have one gripe. I have one gripe with IGN's reviews in relation to the modern day part of Assassin's Creed.
Bring it.
Particularly the importance of the modern day story isn't being properly recognized. The central premise of the AC series is that the Assassin's Brotherhood is way past its prime and the Templars are on the verge of stamping them out and taking over the world. Thus, assassins are stealing and using Animus technology to recover and destroy and hide precursor artifacts so the Templars don't get their hands on them and gain even more power. Every game has incorporated the modern day to some extent, and all the tie-in books and comics all rely heavily on it. The modern day is the glue that keeps the series together. And an AC game completely without a modern day story would be like a Legend of Zelda game without a Link or Zelda.
What's this guy's name?
Devin.
We found him. We found the guy that
Yeah.
likes the
Wow.
modern day story in Assassin's Creed.
Now to my question, what would you all suggest Ubisoft do to the modern day to improve it as opposed to just telling them to remove it?
Get rid of it entirely.
I'm honestly flabbergasted. Like I didn't know. And I'm not being sarcastic here. I literally didn't know anyone cared or liked the modern day
Yeah,
stuff.
seriously. I mean,
I knew
he
they
compared
did.
it. He compared it to like the Zelda franchises, Link or Zelda,
Yeah.
the stars of those things.
Yeah,
From what I've seen, just sort of anecdotally for 10 years plus of covering this franchise, is most people are like, that's my least favorite part.
Yeah, you see on message boards like how much modern day stuff is it? There's almost none. Oh, thank God! Like that makes me like the game.
But I know this contingent because in strategy guides, those pages about the Desmond missions, for instance, those were enormously popular, and they're filled with Easter eggs because you'd walk around an Abstergo office building or whatever and find all this stuff. And one of them would hint at Watch Dogs, or like a terminal would hint at upcoming Ubisoft games. And
there was all that
people
Watch
got really
Dogs
into
connective
that
tissue for a little while.
Yeah, so like that was happening, and then people really liked the character Desmond. I knew that, and then
been a long time now. So.
And this game barely scratches anything, about what's going on.
That's part of the reason why it feels so unnecessary to me. It's literally a small part of the game.
Well,
like over the course of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, how much time do you actually spend in the modern day setting?
But I heard, I don't want to spoil something for you, but it becomes apparent in the back third of this game why we were playing this game to begin with. In the sense, like, it's before the Assassins and the Templars. It's in like 400 BC.
I can tell you why we're playing this game. Red Dead's not out
No, but
yet.
it's like, what are we even, from like a lore standpoint, what are we even doing in this character in this standpoint? And the game gets really wild and flies off the rails in regards to like how it ties into the First People and the modern day plot. There's a lot of wild stuff in
Well, you remember before the movie came out, the movie studio and Ubisoft were like, hey, so like 2/3 of this movie takes place in modern day. And we were like, why are you telling us that? Don't tell us that. Don't even do that.
That was the very first thing that I remember reading about Assassin's Creed was IGN was writing about it. I wasn't working here at the time. And they were saying the one big thing about this first game is save the secret till the end. This is what's going on. But instead, it opens with like you're going to go into these memories, you're going to do all this and stuff like that.
I remember the very
that would have been a cool twist.
The very first time Assassin's Creed was shown off at E3, so it wasn't a secret in the game. You open in the modern day in Assassin's Creed.
But the marketing kept it a secret.
The marketing kept it a secret, and there were rumors at E3. Gosh, what year would it have been?
2006 is when I saw it at E3.
Yeah, and so your health bar in the very first game was a DNA strand, which like that's odd for ancient times, like because they didn't know what DNA was, and there were these other like there are these little glitch effects in the game, and so people kind of already were like, like is this game a simulation? Is this?
They were they revealed that game as an assassin game that takes place,
and they did the Animus stuff,
and like they never mentioned it.
So like in the original Assassin's Creed, you didn't die because your character died. You weren't like matching what actually happened in history. It's like, well, Altair didn't do this, like so you know, and like now they don't even bother. They don't care.
Yeah. So I mean, I think more power to you if you like that the kind of universe there. I think
lore.
Everybody likes. There's fans of lore for all these games, and some people play them for the game, some people play them for the lore. It's just like Dark Souls. Like I mean, there's lots of lore players for Dark Souls, but like most people completely ignore that. It's not a problem.
I think Ubisoft just bungled it a little bit. I think the idea of like an overarching battle between two factions throughout all of human history, and then you get like drips and drabs of it through these games is like pretty neat. But they sort of like it just got lame. Like by the time Assassin's Creed 3 rolled around, it became,
I thought they flopped who was good and who was bad.
And it was like some of that happened, and it was hard to know who. It was hard to follow, and like the execution. I think you.
Well, like pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, you go from like this beautiful open world game where you're scaling buildings and jumping into haystacks to being like this guy who's climbing like IKEA shelves and he's got a hoodie on. Yeah, and reading emails. It's like I have to use a computer terminal.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a bad juxtaposition. That's really what it is, and it shouldn't be forced. And I think if he was asking how to improve it, like maybe anytime if you want to hop
would
out,
you like to check in with the modern day? It's like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm good doing my outposts.
Yeah.
And like AC4 made fun of it, right? Because you worked for a video game developer, and it really lampshaded the fact that like, this was ridiculous. And so it's hard.
I forgot about that.
It's hard to walk that back and like try to make it serious again.
Well, I like how in this game when you die, it just shows you like a cool lamp or like a tiki torch or
it's
a fireplace
the first time
or whatever.
AC hasn't had the loading screen
where the guy's running in the Matrix. Yeah,
it's true. The load times
are they
can be pretty long.
Yes.
They're good on PC.
Are they pooping in the Animus?
Well, I haven't seen my character do it.
I don't think it's implied you're in there in like real time. Like I think you're sort of zipping through stuff fast.
Because I've only seen the one scene so far where you awaken there and that you can read email, and I was like, nope, gonna go back to it.
Yeah.
But I figured there's more of those, and I thought those were just the stigmas. Like she'd been playing for 12 hours or something.
They were diapers in there.
Yeah. There's a doctor. Maybe the doctor just cleans you up.
Thanks, Doc.
That's why I went to school for 7 years.
I think that's an actual point of dialogue in the game. That's the other thing. The future dialogue and voice capture are facial capture. Just the animations look awful.
Well, I don't
They're
think
so much worse than the
I wouldn't say the
Greek
facial
characters.
animations are great in the game.
Yeah.
I think the
general.
main
Oh,
character
dude,
is
Cassandra has
looks
some
good.
really good eye rolls.
Sandra
Yeah.
does, like the main character does.
Yeah, a lot of eye rolls.
Yeah, my wife walked in when I was playing it the other day, and she was like, "She has very realistic hair," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, that's actually something we take for granted because a lot of games can't handle that."
I really like her
Spider-Man
side
had
braid.
like. Did you guys played Spider-Man?
Yeah,
Like
Mary
all,
Jane doesn't have
all
gray
the hair in that game looks like Halloween store wigs or whatever.
The plastic ones.
Yeah, it's very gross.
Moving on from Assassin's Creed, this is Michael from England. He says, "Congrats on episode 500. It was a
Oi.
brilliant episode, and here's to 500 more."
Thanks.
Rockstar games are always so technically amazing and seemingly take full advantage of every console generation, and with Red Dead Redemption 2 looking like it will do the same again. Are other developers making a mistake in not doing a Rockstar and releasing their biggest games at the end of a console generation with the biggest install base and the longest time to make sure that they are taking advantage of the technical ability of that console generation? This obviously also has the added benefit to them of being an easy way to release early for the next-gen console with a slightly better looking version.
Right.
I'm sure they would love to.
Yeah,
be able to just take
I don't think Rockstar really landed on that till GTA 5.
Yeah.
GTA 5
like that's
is
not like
yeah.
that's a playbook they've been
because
following.
they put out 2 GTAs last gen.
Yep.
Yeah, and then GTA 5 they got to double dip. That's like we always talk about it, what the second best selling game ever. And A, it's because the game's amazing, but B, it's because they got that chance to hit people again with the
Yeah,
Xbox
that's
One and
true.
PS4.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta earn what they've earned.
Rockstar is in the unique position to
They can do
take
whatever
as
they
long
want.
as they want,
Yeah.
spend as much as they want. Not everyone else. Like Ubisoft has to have a clear release schedule so their shareholders know when they're going to be making their
Yeah,
money.
although Take-Two is a publicly traded
Yeah.
company, but they've just sort of baked into. They just accept that for 4 years nothing's going to happen, and we're going to make GTA 5
Yeah,
shark card
I mean,
sales.
exactly. I mean, the not so secret about this is that Rockstar has had like micro releases every couple of weeks for the last 5 years with GTA. GTA Online is gigantic, and the fact that it keeps growing is probably keeping them from making a GTA 6. Because why would anybody rush out and make that when this one's selling so well?
I think by accident, Rockstar did land on something really important.
Yeah.
Where even a company as successful and well regarded as them, it's scary to work on something for 5 years at a cost of who knows how many tens of millions of dollars, and you get one chance to sell it to the world. So to be able to, like, they haven't announced a PC version, but we're pretty positive one's going to come, in a year. And then there'll be a next gen version a year after that. Like that sort of lets them have their cake and eat it too.
the first Red Dead never came to PC though.
Yeah, but GTA eventually did.
There were three GTAs on PS2. Isn't that crazy?
Vice City was
Vice
1
City and San
year
Andreas.
after 3.
I can't
That's
believe it was only 1
nuts.
year.
Wow, I never even put that together. That's insane.
Yep.
And those games were all good and really, popular. So
Yep.
it's surprising now that they've shrunk it down to just one GTA per generation.
I mean, I think it's
None this generation.
None.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think every publisher would love to put out one game every 5 years that becomes the best-selling game of that 5 years.
Yeah.
But not everybody can do that. And I think you look at, Nintendo kind of does it with Zelda, right? But that
is
doesn't
similar.
that doesn't hit the top of NPD for 5 years.
But in terms of the end of the console generation timeline, that is smart because you know the hardware and you can manipulate it, make your game great.
Yeah,
But the real secret that nobody does is release your damn games in the summer.
summer. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll buy them.
yeah.
Everybody will buy your game. Stop doing it in November. Just do a great game
November and October.
Yeah.
in the middle of July.
Or
everybody will play it.
release your game in like June and then 2 DLC packs and sell a Game of the Year edition in November.
Yeah.
And then you get to do
I mean,
it twice.
Or do
try to
February.
avoid D3, but
Yeah,
if you
avoid
need
For
to,
our sake.
if you need to, we understand.
The other thing is that if everyone waited to release their biggest games until the end of a console cycle, what would we play for that whole console cycle?
Yeah,
nothing to
you're
play.
right.
All the ports from last
Yeah, last gen ports.
Yeah. And on a side note, I would love it if GTA 6 was set in Vice City.
Oh man, me
I
too.
liked Vice City. That's the one.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like
It was
I
great.
love that whole 80s synthwave aesthetic.
Yep,
It's
yep.
been a long time since Vice City was out. A Rockstar AAA game today set in Vice City. Oh man, so great.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Agreed.
I'd like to see him do the Bay Area.
I just want to see space. Just make a
It's a
space.
lot to make fun
GTA in
of.
space.
It's probably time. GTA 5's old enough. It's time to do that feature again.
Which feature?
What do we want from 6? Like, where do we want 6 to be?
Yeah.
The old West.
All
yeah,
right.
sure, that'll be cheap for them. They already got it.
All right, Sam, it's time. The October 1998 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly,
That
Star
is-
Wars Rogue Squadron, on the front.
It's a huge magazine.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
because October.
It's mostly a Madden advertisement. It is.
Lots of games coming out.
It is,
Really?
yeah,
Got
especially-
Mega Man Legends on the back cover here.
Oh, look at that guy.
Look at that little man.
98.
So that was the Mega Man RPG on PlayStation. I missed that. I played a little bit of Mega Man 64, which is a port.
Yeah.
This is
I love this era of magazines because it's like there'll be a picture of a ship that's like 4 polygons, and there's a quote that says like graphics will never be this good.
this is the era that's like my golden years, right? I had enough money to within reason buy the games that I wanted, but I wasn't. I was just at school. I was just a kid, so I did nothing but play games all night long and pour over issues of EGM.
So
like
it's
this.
it's October '98. Is that what you said?
And you remember from last episode, we talked about big anniversaries
Yeah,
from
I was
98.
gonna say
This
98
is
's
20 years
really
ago.
good.
So a lot of those games are mentioned.
Look
But
at all those
maybe-
games listed on the front. It's
I
like
know.
all the all-time
Final
greats.
Fantasy VIII, Xenogears, Metal Gear Solid, Rival Schools, Air Guys.
But November was
Air
probably the big
Guys?
month,
Yeah.
right?
The,
So,
the
I don't know if we're
Square
gonna get
fighting
everything.
game.
The November issue would be the one that's like 300 pages.
Yeah, yeah.
We begin on page
Some shock, huh?
32 with rumors about the next PlayStation. The PlayStation 2, which I
Yeah.
don't think they knew it was going to be called PlayStation 2.
What did they call?
What do they call it
They
here?
call it
Let's
the
see.
PlayStation Next, right?
Back then it was a guess because they didn't have 4 numbered PlayStations.
Yeah, the Super PlayStation would have been
Yeah.
their best guess.
This is how this article starts. It says if you have a hit game, it's when's the sequel coming out? When you have a hit movie, the question is, are there plans for a sequel? When Sony scored a hit with the PlayStation after its launch on September 9th, 1995, it wasn't long before the question was asked, oh, here it is. So when's PlayStation 2 coming out? All right,
Right.
they were calling it that.
But what's that Super Nintendo section?
Hold on. You're getting ahead of us here. There's a poll here. They polled their users at videogames.com because they had that
Wow.
address.
That still work?
What do you ask first about a new system? Who's developing for it? How powerful is it? What do the games look like? What do the games look like was number one.
Wait, did you say videogames.com?
Yeah.
I think GameStop has videogames.com. If I
gonna look it up.
Not GameStop, GameSpot.
I think GameSpot has it today.
Oh, cool.
That's what I
It's
meant.
a pretty valuable URL. Sam, you're asking about the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
There's an article here, Super Nintendo Forever. It says the days of Super Nintendo and Genesis have long passed in the United States.
Video games goes to Giant Bomb.
Kirby 3 was the last new Super Nintendo game to be released. As we're already saying goodbye to some of the machines once called the Next Wave, Magic Knight Ray Earth will be the very last release on the Saturn.
There you go.
It's amazing that in Japan, this old 16-bit machine is still pumping out new games.
What's the Kirby game?
One of the reasons, well, they said Kirby 3.
Kirby 3.
One of the reasons is the Nintendo Power. No relation to the magazine. Game delivery system located in Lawson's convenience stores in Japan.
What?
So it was a
Say
system. So it would be like the Famicom disk system. And It was
Okay.
called Nintendo Power.
All right.
Basically, a video game vending machine. It gives you a way to purchase and download games from a list of selections onto a special flash ROM cartridge for play at home.
Cool.
That must have been so cool back then.
Wait,
New
this
games-
says that it doesn't exist or it's going to exist?
This existed in Japan in 1998.
Wow.
New games from Nintendo like Wrecking Crew 98,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know was a thing until yesterday. Kirby Superstar Stacker, Super Punch-Out, Dr. Mario, Derby Stallion 98, and others come to the Nintendo Power System before hitting Japanese shelves separately.
It's funny that they had a Kirby and a Derby and they're totally different things. They're not like weird brothers.
Well, and like, oh, okay, I'm not even gonna. Never mind.
You're not even going to get...
Is that a Duke Nukem ad?
There was a Duke Nukem ad for Duke Nukem Time to Kill on PlayStation.
Don't remember that one.
Hit game.
Yeah.
I don't remember it either.
Here we go. At the movies.
Okay.
Who is Lara Croft? The rumor going around now is that G.I. Jane star Demi Moore,
Ooh.
whose name has the same number of syllables as Core's buxom video game babe,
Hey, how do we fill a paragraph?
has won the role to play her in the film adaptation.
That's the thing about magazines. You have a box you have to
Yeah.
fill with type.
Yeah. You need more text.
That never happened, right? Demi Moore did not.
No,
No.
definitely not. Definitely
Was it
not.
only Angelina Jolie first, or was it somebody
Yeah.
else?
Just-
It was
she did
2
entry
Angelina Jolies and then
Alicia Vikander.
Alicia
Yeah.
Vikander.
All right, it's time for the video game gossip and speculation with Quarterman.
Quarterman.
They're talking about PlayStation Next here. See, that's why I was confused about the
Did we ever
PlayStation
figure out
2.
who Quarterman was? Do we know?
It's
Yeah.
everyone that worked there.
Oh, got it. Okay.
The biggest rumors around at the moment concern Sony's new machine. At E3, SCEA stated that they would not comment on a new machine until 12 months before it was due to hit. Well, they've started commenting. That's a start. It goes on to say they have a vested interest in establishing both DVD and mini disc as industry standard media.
Well, one of those worked.
So if the system has a DVD drive as its primary medium, and then a mini disc drive to replace memory cards.
Can you imagine a prominent video game developer making a mini disc console? That's insane.
I know.
And the GameCube.
No, mini disc is a
It was their Sony's proprietary.
Yeah, and I
it's
remember.
different. But do you remember going to like Best Buy and there was like actual Sony
Yeah.
mini disc?
Yeah, they were
like,
super weird.
albums?
Yeah, they were little
So
music
cool.
CDs you could buy.
Yeah, I had Spider-Man 2 on PSP or PS.
Oh yeah, the PSP had movies.
The
Yeah.
UMDs.
UMDs. They always are trying. Sony used to always try to come up with these.
Even
new,
the Vita had a proprietary memory card.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, October 1998, Final Fantasy VIII was not out yet. So Quarterman says, with Final Fantasy VIII coming along very nicely and ready to ship in Japan before the end of the year, we inevitably have to look to number 9, reputedly in development alongside 8, Back to the Future style.
Yeah, they did
This
that.
is
that have
before-
2 and
oh,
3 were
right.
developed
This is
together.
before Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, 8 and 9 were. They're right. They were in development concurrently.
However,
I didn't know
different
that.
teams. Yep.
That's really
despite
interesting.
Square's assertion that it has no plans to develop for any system other than PlayStation at the moment, it has come to our attention that a Dreamcast version of 9 is a serious possibility. Also, there's apparently a pretty good chance that 8 may even hit Dreamcast thanks to the easy portability of code between the PC and Sega's box.
Nope.
Wait, was 8 and 9 on PC?
No, I don't think so at the time.
I mean, they're on
The
PC
7
now.
Now
but
they are,
not,
now they are.
Not,
Yeah.
not contemporary in 98.
yeah.
Funny.
Let's see, where's Naughty Dog? Oh yeah, here we go. Naughty Dog has recently hinted that its next project isn't a Crash Bandicoot game.
What?
Thank God.
Rude.
This is what they thought of Naughty Dog at that time. It will almost certainly not be for PlayStation. There are also some strong indications that it won't be for any system that is available now. It's already known the team has been expressing an interest in Dreamcast development, but don't be surprised if it turns out to be a pioneer developer for the new PlayStation.
Yeah, Jack and Daxter, right?
That would have been Jack and Daxter?
Yep.
What they were working on in 1998.
So that's way pre-Uncharted then too.
They have a whole. Everyone with Naughty Dog leaps from Crash straight to Uncharted, and it's like,
Yeah.
nah, they had a whole trilogy in between there.
Yeah, totally.
And then it says, just as EGM goes to press, we learned that Rocket Game Products, creators of the N64 Game Booster, which lets you play Game Boy games on your Nintendo 64, are you
Okay.
aware of this?
Yeah.
Is making a game booster for the PlayStation. Now you can play Game Boy games on your PlayStation.
What?
Sure.
Cool, huh?
Sam, do you have that?
That can't be real.
I couldn't find any information existing on the internet today about this.
What does it go into the console, the controller ports?
Yeah,
There's
what?
no Rocket Game Products doesn't exist. There's no information about it. No information about the N64 Game Booster or the PlayStation Game Booster.
Maybe they made it all up.
But that was a big deal because Pokemon was super big at the time. So being able to play Pokemon on your television would have been a big deal. And then, use a Super Game Boy with your old Super Nintendo. That's about it.
All right, here in international news, it says Capcom's Yoshiki Okamoto has recently revealed that Capcom is currently developing several new Nintendo 64 titles. One features a major dose of zombies, could be either Biohazard or a new Ghouls and Ghosts game.
Ooh, sounds good.
For N64, that would have been awesome.
Another is a fighting game and a number of sequel titles. So, of course, I think it would have been Resident Evil 2
we got.
that went to N64, Code Veronica. That did not
I
come
think
to-
just 2 did.
Yeah,
So
just
just
two,
maybe-
and the
maybe
rest got
one did
ported to
eventually.
GameCube.
There was no new Ghouls and Ghosts,
Damon,
unfortunately.
I think I have to leave you.
Oh,
Sorry
Justin,
to do this.
you're
Do
gonna
you want me to
miss-
send someone in?
Send someone in to finish off the episode
Okay.
and play 20
I'm
questions.
sad because I really love this. This era is my era.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold
Thanks. Scoop.
The Animaniacs era.
All right, now we have the top 20 best-selling games of June 1998. Why? This is the October issue, so they're a little behind.
Sure.
Any guesses what was the best-selling game of June 1998?
And you already said which games were out by now, like, or Metal Gear wasn't out yet and stuff like that.
Not out yet.
So
Was
I'm
Ocarina
gonna,
of Time
I'm gonna
out
go
yet?
with. Do you think Madden is big that year?
Yeah, but June, is it come out in June?
Oh, that's a good point.
You guys don't actually.
Can
never-
you
Yeah,
would
we
never
won't
guess it.
guess.
Is it
Well,
Legacy of Kain?
It's a PlayStation exclusive.
Okay.
Whoa! I got close there. It's a PlayStation
That
Parappa the
was a
Rappa.
PlayStation exclusive.
What is it?
Gran Turismo,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
the
I
original.
never would
What's
have guessed that.
Legacy of Kain? I don't know anything about that game.
Well, the original Legacy. I guess the original Legacy of Kain, but then Soul Reaver was multi-platform.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the top 5 are Gran Turismo,
Gran Turismo, huh?
MLB featuring Ken Griffey Jr.,
Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie,
Yeah.
All-Star Baseball 99, and Tekken 3.
Okay, so Banjo must have come out early that year. Cool.
Good year for games.
Yeah. Let's see where.
Are there any other Nintendo 64 games?
Oh,
on the
there's
list?
so many. These are all half of the games.
They are, okay.
They're all PlayStation and Nintendo 64.
Okay.
Other N64 games include GoldenEye, Quest 64, 1080 Snowboarding, Mortal Kombat 4, Yoshi's Story, Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and Kobe Bryant in NBA Courtside.
So
that was
game sales must have been pretty low in June if Quest 64 was charting.
Yeah, or there wasn't a lot going on. That was before the 64 really started losing steam too, because it kind of got through all of its big releases.
98
and
was,
then-
I think, the peak for sure.
definitely.
There's a Say What section on notable quotes
Say what?
from people in the industry. And here's Harvard Bonin, producer for Virgin's ultra-violent fighter Thrill Kill. He says, it's absolutely for people over 18. We have no Joe Camel here, and we're not doing any gummy bear pack-ins. Thrill Kill is a famously canceled game, which I was able to get a copy of. It's a 4-player fighting game that was like way over the top for the
Wow.
time.
No Joe Camel though, huh?
Nope, no Joe Camel.
And no gummy bears. What a weird quote.
Say what?
Yeah, what?
Can we do a say what segment?
Yeah, I think we
should
should
do
bring
it.
back Quarterman too. Just publish rumors we hear drunk at E3.
Yeah, actually, and just make a few.
Let's do Quarterwoman.
All right, that was Say What. Now we're looking for Just Plain Fun. Oh, I think I hear a new challenger entering the room. Who are we being joined by?
Hear a grunting noise.
Here
It's
we
Mark
go.
Medina.
Here we go.
Mark Medina, everybody.
What's up?
Hey.
Mark.
This is all making it into the cut, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Mark,
Hey, everybody.
we're flipping through the October 1998 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Oh, why? Why are we doing that?
Because we do this once a month.
It's a blast from the
Game
past.
Scoop.
I know.
Okay,
You're on a
this is
show.
Game Scoop. It doesn't need a real answer. So where are we at?
We're at the preview section. There's a preview of Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
That was
That's
a really
fun little game.
That's
kind
really
of like
fun
a
game.
mini golf course with a bunch
from
of
DMA Design that would go on to become Rockstar. There's other previews for
Interesting.
Ogre Battle 3, which would be Ogre Battle 64
Oh
in the
yeah.
United States, and Sam, Castlevania 64.
Oh, nice.
There it is.
What does it talk about?
It's a preview gallery. So
Okay.
there's not much to say. The text in its entirety says, we recently got our hands on the latest playable version of Konami's upcoming Castlevania 64 due for release late this year. While the game looks promising, just check out these gorgeous screenshots. It's definitely far from being complete, so don't be surprised if it gets delayed until sometime in 99. Don't mind the colored lines on each picture. It's just a debug code and won't be in the final game.
Let me see the colored lines.
At the bottom of the screen here.
Oh yeah.
What are
So when
those?
did it end up coming out?
I don't know. Do you remember, Sam?
It seems like it came out. It definitely came out in 98 or 99.
That's not a good game.
No,
by the
I
way.
do not like
It is
that.
a terrible game.
Yeah, it's a terrible
is.
game.
Wait, I think it still came out in 98.
It could. I think it was a December game,
Yeah.
and then it got released again with just a new character, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, if it came out in December, that June preview is basically like, don't worry, there's still plenty of time to fix it. And they're like, no, it's out.
This
in
is
4
an
months.
October preview.
Oh
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah, it came.
Skeletons ride motorcycles.
Castlevania Legacy of Darkness was the game where they added a werewolf.
Yeah, but it was the same game.
Same
Just
game,
with the werewolf
new
added.
couple new levels, a werewolf and a lady you could play as.
Well, I thought Carrie's in the original. I think. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Who knows? She's the one with the projectiles.
Oh yeah.
2-page ad for Parasite Eve
Oh, there it is.
from
Parasite Eve.
SquareSoft, the cinematic RPG. It's a big deal at the time.
That was a big deal. And then there was a follow up that was like on phones only.
Parasite Eve
23rd
2.
birthday. Yeah, there's Parasite Eve 2 and then 23rd birthday, which is only on PSP.
Yes,
it's kind of
I
a
think there's a
weird
phone one too.
Is
Here's
there?
a,
Yeah.
here's a 6-page preview for Final Fantasy VIII, and they call it.
Why not 8 pages?
There was a demo that was out in Japan, and so they
Oh,
run
cool.
through the complete demo, and they even have warning demo spoiler.
Hmm.
So spoilers were even a thing even back then.
That's
Did you
awesome.
like 8? Was 8 a good one?
No, I do not like
All
it.
right.
This is when
Just
they
did.
diverged from the super deformed characters.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Into
That
what?
demo disc
Into,
was
like, realistically
on,
proportioned.
Brave Fencer Musashi.
Oh,
That's,
right,
like
right,
a
right.
lot of people got that game to play the Final Fantasy
Oh
demo
yeah.
disc.
That was like Zone
like-
of Enders and Metal Gear. People just bought.
I
the
love
game to
demo
get the
disc
demo.
era. That's
They have
so funny.
breakdowns of all the FMVs in the demo. So here's the intro FMV, and there's screenshots of like the whole thing. And here's the middle FMV, ending FMV, and they explain like what happens. Because that was like part of the big draw.
Yeah.
So they figured out how to put a video.
Yeah.
In this
In a
magazine.
magazine. Yeah, it's a flip book basically.
That's
Yeah.
great.
There's an ad for Tomb Raider 3. Mm-hmm. Adventures of Lara Croft.
Back when she has like that the Morpheus sunglasses.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very different depiction of Lara Croft than we get.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The bullets
Yeah.
are bigger.
Yep.
Yes.
Sure are. There's also a preview of Rival Schools, which is my favorite fighting game of all time. We'll jump ahead to page 148. Let's see what we got on here.
148 pages. That's crazy.
This is quite the beefy magazine.
Okay, this game do you guys know about this game called Apocalypse? The game is called Apocalypse, starring Bruce Willis.
What?
Wow.
Praise
Bruce
the Lord and
Willis's-
pass the ammunition.
They have Bruce Willis's likeness, and then he did the voice acting.
Wow.
just come out?
Yeah, Apocalypse. Oh, yeah,
That's so
Apocalypse,
strange.
starring Bruce Willis.
That's insane. I have
It's so funny
no
'cause-
recollection of that.
Like games nowadays star actors, but
Yeah.
they don't like, you know?
Yep, exactly.
That's so funny.
We got to see if this Bruce Willis game existed.
It did. I think there might be a
There's
review
videos
of
of
it.
it and
I think there might be a review of it in this issue. Wow. There's an ad for G Darius, which is an absolutely amazing shooter on the PlayStation.
Is that part of? I mean, probably, but it's part of the Darius series, Darius Twin and stuff.
Yeah, all
those are
of
good
it.
games.
And here's a preview of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh.
This is pre-Metal Gear Solid being released. Again, it's just
And the
another-
point of reference at this point is only the NES Metal Gear game. So like,
Yeah.
it's really funny
Yeah.
to think about that.
and which had been 10 years
Mm-hmm.
since that. So yeah, not even much of a. It couldn't have been that much of a Metal Gear fan base.
Yeah, what a strange
Right.
idea for basically a reboot at the time. funny.
Preview of Dragon Quest 7. We just got Dragon Quest 11. Of
Yeah,
course.
that's not that many though in
That's
20 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's we just saw Final Fantasy 8 and there's 15 of those, not
Yeah.
counting like the fact that 2 of them were MMOs and
The spin-offs and
like
everything.
the millions of spin-offs.
And here's an ad that's interesting to us. This is an ad for ZD TV, as in Ziff Davis
Oh,
TV.
really? Our corporate owners.
What was it?
Owners of IGN were trying to launch a TV network. It says, having trouble scoring? Maybe you should stay home and watch TV. The tagline is ZD TV, television about computing. If you've got the moves but just can't seem to get any action, we've got the show for you.
Oh, it's so sexualized.
It's called GameSpot TV, one of many programs you'll find on ZD TV, the 24-hour television network dedicated to computing and the internet.
wow.
GameSpot was involved too.
Yeah.
What was going on back then?
So CBS owns GameSpot today. Did Ziff
Right.
own GameSpot at one point?
and ZD was a 100% different company than they are now. They
Yeah, that's true.
relaunched with the same name, but it's not the same company.
And here's a full-page ad for the aforementioned Thrill Kill that was canceled before release. And
It
just
looks
says,
like
warning: Thrill Kill contains extremely graphic and violent scenes and subject matter. That was like the whole draw of the game.
Wait,
And
which
they
one's
just show
Thrill Kill?
The characters. It was a 4-player fighter
We played this game. Yeah, like a year ago.
for like some sort of
Yeah,
unreleased.
we had to do some sort of feature. We played this game.
Did you like it?
No. Not at all. That's
not a lot
funny.
of not a
That's
lot of
great.
like exciting reviews in this issue. I don't think. Let me see.
It's all Stone Cold.
Deadly Arts. Anyone remember Deadly Arts?
Nope.
Gex 64.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Reviewed.
What'd they give Gex? Not a good score, right? 7 point-
Sixes and
Six and
fives.
fives.
That
Sixes
checks
and
out.
five. Let's see. Batman and Robin for PlayStation got 3s and 2s.
Wow.
But it was a great movie.
Yeah. Future G Darius. G Darius got 8s and 9s. That one's really good. Kula World working title. They reviewed a game with a working title.
Love that.
it
like
got-
sending out code, but guys, we don't have the art or the name
Or the
ready
name,
for this
but
yet. But just tell
Give
us
it a
what you think.
number and put it in your magazine.
Mega Man Legends got 6576. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Then there's Resident Evil 2 Dual Shock Edition. I don't remember that being a thing, but they
Okay, so they
re-released
change it for DualShock.
re-released Resident Evil 2 for the DualShock controller.
So you got
That's
some high
funny.
scores there.
Well, it got 7798.
I love that a new controller came out and games were released.
Yep.
You know, like to
Re-released.
support that new control. That's awesome.
That
Spy-
happened with the 3DS.
That's true. Yeah.
They added that other slidey stick.
Yeah.
The boat?
Yeah, I remember Monster. Yeah,
Boat,
Monster
and then
Hunter.
they just added it in.
The nipple?
With the nub.
Yeah.
Oh, with the the new one.
They also reviewed Spice World, starring the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst games I've ever played for this company.
Oh no.
You played that for this
Yeah,
company?
we did an Up and Noon video where we put the nude code in.
Oh,
There's a
they
nude
all
code?
There's a nude code, but they all look like Bratz dolls, and it doesn't actually show anything. Not like we were looking for that, but it just shows like this weird like pre-rendered shot of the 5 of them sitting in like directors' chairs backwards, and you're like, you don't see anything, and it's horrible. And so is
Did
the
you
game.
find that in our library or did you have to buy it?
No, it was in our library.
Good work.
Yeah,
where is it now? Never mind.
in the garbage.
Yeah, I love this idea that you put in a nude code, but
Yeah.
then to cater to the younger audience we then edit and blur it or something like that.
No, totally. The younger art, we would have to explain Spice Girls to our audience first.
Yeah, seriously.
How many games actually have a nude code? There can't actually be that
That's
many.
the only one I can name.
There's the Tomb Raider myth,
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
not a
pretty
real
sure it was debunked.
Okay, so when I first started working here full time, my job was to man our cheats inbox. So people used to submit cheat codes, and then sometimes they're real, sometimes they weren't. We'd have these various ways of verifying them. The most common fake
What's Tomb
cheat
Raider?
code
Oh, that's funny.
was nude Master Chief.
Wow.
That's amazing.
It was like this infinite meme. It would just like somebody knew it out. Like all these little kids would send in like nude Master Chief code, and then it would be like the fake button commands.
That's so weird.
I love that we all just want to
Over
know what
and
he
over,
looks
and
like,
it was
but
never
people
the
want to
same
know
person.
what he like.
Like, I want to know what
What
he
he
looks like from top to bottom.
Yeah.
In Yoshi 64, if you eat 8 eggs in 30 seconds, you can see his balls. That's a
Fun
lie.
fact.
It's not true. People are typing that in right now. You can probably see his balls because people drew them.
Yeah.
It's out there somewhere.
And that brings us to Video Game 20 Questions. Our suggestion this week comes from Rod Meyer. Let the questioning begin.
Well, I took Justin's spot, so now I'm Justin Davis.
There we go.
Does your character wear a hat?
Can you define hat?
What?
Oh, it's gonna be one of these ones.
So, like, maybe
It
like
goes on your.
no, like a helmet could be a hat.
Yeah, but those aren't. Yes.
Like Captain Toad, right?
Okay.
What's up with that dude?
Can you take off
Just-
a piece of headgear?
Yeah. Is he wearing a piece of headgear that you can take off?
Yes.
It's Toad.
Okay, it's a removable. Toad doesn't. That's
No,
part of
that's
his.
part of
That's
Toad's
part of his
head.
head.
Oh yeah, I
But
forgot
he does have the lantern on his. Okay.
Yeah, but then they said the NES was NES, and now I just don't trust them.
I don't like that either.
I don't like
Could
them.
this game have been in this issue of EGM?
No.
Oh, so that means it's
It's
a modern
either-
game.
Post 98,
Wait.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. I guess.
Nice.
I guess.
October 98.
Broke my brain there.
Yeah.
Can you see your hands in this game?
Yes.
Well, you can see them.
Okay. Is this game exclusive to one console?
It was for a time.
Oh.
Interesting. Was this made in Japan?
Yes.
Oh.
Let's figure out Sony or Nintendo there then.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it wouldn't be exclusive to Nintendo and then go somewhere else.
Do we want to figure out which?
But it could be something that was on one Nintendo console that then got ported to Switch. Pets.
Oh.
The Pets Initiative.
Oh, okay.
Port everything to Switch. Correct.
Got it.
Um,
It took us half a game scoop to figure that
It's
out.
sounding more and more like Captain Toad.
It does sound a lot like Captain Toad.
yeah.
So if I got it on the first question, I'll just say it. Justin
man.
has me the thing.
You have to collect treasure in this game.
No.
Oh no! That would've been- Okay.
Okay.
Well, we would have got it in 7 questions, but that wouldn't have been a record.
That would have
Yeah,
been good.
probably not. Yeah.
Would have been good. What is the record?
I think
like
maybe
exactly
it's
7 questions.
7 is that?
Wow.
Maybe the record, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Was this on Sony consoles?
Eventually.
Sony.
Eventually.
Okay, so that's what
Oh.
so
Eventually.
it was an exclusive, and then it ended up on Sony.
Yeah, but we should figure out where it started.
Yeah, how could that not have been on Sony
Yeah.
to begin with? So
Yeah.
an Xbox or a Nintendo game that ended up on Sony.
Things are going well on this platform that's not selling as well. Let's try it over in the big leagues.
Is it a Dreamcast game?
Was this? Let's get maybe an era too. Mm-hmm. Or are we just not gonna
Cool.
get this one? Should we just give up?
What? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
you see-
definitely not going to get it with the 13.
Can you
14
see the
questions.
dinosaur's balls in this game?
Sorry. Is this part of the? Oh shoot, that's hard because
The Xbox 360 generation.
I was going to say the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii generation.
No.
Oh.
Is it from the generation prior?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, so this is
So
N64, Xbox.
Something
No,
that got
GameCube,
GameCube.
PS2.
Xbox, PS2.
And something. This game came out on something that ended up on PS2, which actually was that is something that could happen. So
Resident Evil
Yeah,
4 is one
Resident
of those
Evil
games.
Code
Killer
Veronica
7.
was
Yeah,
on
that-
Dreamcast
does
and
this
then
have
ended up on
sequels?
PS2.
Does it have sequels? Yes. And that's 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So it wouldn't be something like Killer 7, which launched on GameCube and then went to PS2.
that sounds like it would be something
Yeah,
like that.
but
Is
this didn't get sequels. Yeah.
Is this a Capcom game?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
probably
It's
Resident
got to
Evil.
be
4.
Resident Evil, either 4 or Code Veronica. But okay, is it? Okay.
Wait, but he doesn't wear a hat.
Oh, none of them do.
Yeah.
Leon doesn't wear a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have anything on his head?
He has hair.
No, he's the very notable. And then in Code Veronica, it's Claire and Chris. Neither of them wearing hats
Why are we talking about Code Veronica?
because that was on Dreamcast and got ported to PS2.
Wait, but what else did
No,
Mega
but it's
Man?
from that generation.
That's true.
Mega Man is a Capcom character that wears a thing on his head.
What were the other? So Killer 7, Piano 3.
Yeah, didn't get ported.
Uh,
The Capcom 5 was only 3 games.
there was no Kami is not that. Wasn't there one other? Anyway, all right.
Beautiful Joe.
No More Heroes was after Killer 7.
Beautiful Joe was the one,
Beautiful Joe,
which was a
That's really good one.
GameCube game
And it
made
has
by
a sequel.
Capcom that got
Yeah.
ported to PlayStation,
Yes.
where he wears a hat and you can see the motherfucker's hands.
Yo, he has like goggles. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we know that?
Henshin a go-go, baby.
But there were also 2 Beautiful Joe games.
Yeah, can you manipulate time in this game?
Yes.
Resident Evil 4.
Is this Beautiful Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good work.
That was
All
13,
right.
13
I
questions.
knew there was another Capcom.
Yes.
That's to make up for GameScoop 500.
Did you guys screw it up?
Oh, yeah, they didn't get it.
They
at
didn't get
500.
it.
Oh, not even close, and we wouldn't have.
No.
Really?
It was
On the
I'll
19th
give you all
question-
these clues. I'm gonna give you a set of clues. All right.
Okay.
It's
Here we go.
no, you won't get.
I
it.
don't
You
remember.
won't-
On the
it won't be
19th
interesting
question,
for people.
Damon's only hint was you guys are nowhere near the answer.
Oh my
No,
God.
his hint was it's a game that meant a lot to me, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a DS game. I'll just say it's a DS puzzle game,
But
but it was made in America
Picto
No,
Bits?
no, made in Australia.
or made in Australia.
Which one?
DS puzzle
Polarium?
No, it was Puzzle Quest.
Oh man.
That's a
I don't
tough
think
one.
we would have gotten.
No, I never would have gotten
Now,
that.
one time we got tripped up on a similar game, Scribblenauts, because that was a puzzle game on DS but made in America, and like I just don't associate those things.
But the
yeah.
Who Am I's went really well.
I also don't
Those were-
consider my brain doesn't consider Scribblenauts a puzzle game, even though it
Yeah,
basically
that's
is.
Yeah.
that was kind of an
Yeah.
argument on the show.
I
Yeah.
don't know what else
weird one.
would be what you would
How many-
categorize it as.
We
How
just
many
spoiled
times-
500 for all the people that haven't listened to it yet.
How many times in GameScoop history? It's a great episode. You should listen to the rest of it, where they don't screw up their 20 questions. How many times in GameScoop history have they not gotten the question right
Oh, it's like all the time.
all the time?
Yeah, I think their win rate is like 60% of the time.
We have
Really?
a-
But
we have
I
a
heard
new,
you guys were on a streak.
Yeah.
I've
that
never.
500 then ruined.
Well,
I don't think I've ever been on a losing episode.
Me
Really?
neither.
Yeah,
I've only been on like 4 episodes, but
So-
we got it every time.
that's a good.
There's
ratio.
somebody manning the wiki again now.
Someone out
with
there-
this information
yeah.
in it, and there's
They've
like this
been tracking
detailed
it, but they
information.
haven't added it to the wiki.
Oh, it's in a spreadsheet.
yeah, they've built the spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, he was like, "How do I add it?"
Please.
You're like,
They will
Reviewer.
probably be the one to let
I
me
need
know
to be
that,
in
yes,
touch with that person. So
Yeah.
if you guys have communicated with each other,
They'll be the one
in
to let
touch
me
with
know that I have been on a losing episode because I'm sure it's happened.
As for Beautiful Joe, released in 2003, GameCube first, and then it came to PS2 a year later.
Yeah,
What a fun game.
I was thinking about this
That
the
came
other
out
day.
in the summer, I think. too.
There was a time in our life, or many times in our lives, where we thought we would get 2D Castlevanias every year. We'd get multiple sequels to Beautiful Joe. We'd get a whole bunch of Portals, and then it just never happened. So just hold on to what you got and enjoy
We
the
did
games you
get-
have, because
We did get a new Mega Man
we did get a new Mega
after a
Man.
long time.
We've got a lot of Guitar Heroes.
Yes, many,
And now
many Guitar Heroes.
Monster Hunter World is Capcom's best-selling game of all time, so get ready for more Monster Hunter.
Yep, and get ready for a Beautiful Joe helmet in Monster Hunter.
All right, I guess that is all the scoops that we have for you this week. Thanks for joining us here at the end, filling in for Justin, Mark.
Yep.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Brian. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com or omegacops@ign.com. My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.